one thing for a conservative pundit like William Kristol to write that John McCain needs to fire his entire campaign team, or Christopher Hitchens to write that Sarah Palin is a disgrace and unscrupulous. But in our fourth story on the countdown, what does it mean when the Republican governor of Florida decides he's too busy to help the GOP nominee get in the White House? Charlie Crist now saying when it comes to getting McCain elected, quote, "When I have time to help, I'll try to do that." What's he so busy with? On Saturday, the governor canceled plans to go to a McCain football-based rally to instead go to Disney World. Earlier, it was former presidential candidate and Wisconsin Governor Tommy Thompson who, when asked if he is happy with the campaign, putting it bluntly, "No, and I don't know who is." Then there's the presumably unsolicited public advice for the nominee from the likes of Newt Gingrich. He has to make the case that he's different than Bush and better than Obama on the economy. Even McCain's own surrogate, Mitt Romney, declaring that McCain has yet to establish an economic vision that is able to convince the American people that he really knows how to strengthen the economy. I'm joined now by Democratic strategist Chris Kofinas, former communications director on the Edwards campaign. Chris, thanks for your time tonight.
Good evening, Keith.
Let me start with Governor Crist. Here's a man who was supposedly on McCain's VP shortlist. I would guess right now he's on a different kind of McCain S list. What happened?
I think McCain's campaign has the stink of loserdom. And I think what you're starting to see is the Republicans and other key surrogates are starting to run away from him. It happens in a lot of different campaigns, and it's starting to happen to this campaign. I mean, this is really a critical development, particularly when we talk about Governor Crist, who's one of his earliest and staunchest supporters, somebody who helped him win Florida in the primaries. For him to run away from John McCain to choose Disneyland over a McCain event just speaks volumes. And the problem this is going to have is starts feeding these perceptions that there's no way that McCain can win, which is going to affect turnout, not just for the McCain campaign, but down ballot. So this is a very serious dynamic that is happening when you start seeing Republicans, senior Republicans, start running away from the McCain campaign.
And to that point, here's William Kristol, who is the flack of all flacks in the New York Times. Not just the headline, obviously, a call for McCain to fire everybody on the campaign, but he insisted on total media accessibility to McCain and to Palin. He wrote about the failure of the McCain campaign's attacks on Obama and says, so drop them. To the point where a McCain spokesman went on Fix News this afternoon and said of Kristol, I think unfortunately he has bought into the Obama campaign's party line. This is madness.
Yeah, the McCain campaign really is in a tough spot right now, and when you have folks like Bill Kristol coming out and basically saying that your entire campaign should be fired, again, it just shows you the depths this campaign has fallen. But I'll tell you, I think the other factor that's going on here, and I think this is really causing the alarm amongst Republican circles. I mean, people thought for a moment that Obama could win or be a close presidential race, but they didn't. They weren't certain about Obama's coattails, and now you're seeing Obama have real serious coattails in red states, in North Carolina, in Minnesota. You're seeing, states that were supposedly, in the McCain camp, like West Virginia, all of a sudden starting to turn for Obama. And this has got them panicked. And I think what they're starting to do right now is basically feed on themselves. The problem, I think, with Kristol's strategy is it misses one fundamental point. The voters aren't listening to John McCain. I don't think it's a question of message any longer. They've tuned him out. And I think we've seen that over the last two debates. I'm not sure firing the campaign, although it would be an innovative event, I don't think that saves the John McCain campaign.
Well, I mean, the Milwaukee Brewers fired their manager 2 weeks ago in the baseball season and made it to the playoffs. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe it's firing the vice presidential candidate. What Christopher Hitchens wrote on Palin, the only public events that have so far featured his absurd choice of running mate have shown her to be a deceiving and unscrupulous woman, utterly unversed in any of the needful political discourses, but easily trained to utter preposterous lies and to appeal to the basest element of her audience. I mean, I knew as I said it last month that it sounded crazy before the VP debate that they should have made an excuse and dropped her. But today her supporters are shouting, "We can't hear you." She assumed they were protesters, questioned their courage and their respect for veterans. She is a disaster, and I have to ask you this. Is she secretly working for your party?
No, I could definitely say that without any equivocation. I mean, the reality here with Governor Palin, I mean, this has become a biblical plague on the McCain campaign since that first speech at the convention. It's been just a precipitous downhill, after, one mistake after another. I mean, you have to really wonder what were the McCain campaign strategists and advisors thinking when they chose her. It's clear to everyone, whether they're Republican or Democrat, that she is not ready to be the vice president, and definitely not a good surrogate or a good candidate. And I think that is really affecting the McCain campaign. And so in that sense, it's good for the Democrats, not good for her, and not good for John McCain.
I swear if it turns out that she's working for you guys, I'll never forgive you. Chris Kucinich is the former communications director of the Edwards campaign. Thank you, Chris.